Okay, let's talk about the 4 things, the 4 behaviors that if your child shows one of these 4 behaviors, you have to call the police. You have to notify a legal authority. You have to get your child some help right away, okay, right away.
This struggle got purpose and we grow. So whatever road we have to take next, all I need to know is that we'll roll with the punches.
Fam, back for another day of life, back for another day of daily. So blessed, so blessed, so blessed to be talking with you again about mental health, just putting mental health out in this world, y'all. Just putting mental health out in this world again today. We're doing this 365 straight days. 365 straight days, and the end of this year, March 31st, 2025, gonna be a big old party, y'all. Big old party. And y'all, we've been very busy, as we talked about over the last several weeks. But one thing I haven't talked about that is it's gonna be really exciting is the club is under renovation. The club is under renovation, and it's gonna be ready. It's gonna be finished by April 1st. Well, that's April Fool's Day. It's not gonna be an April Fool's joke. It's gonna be finished, and it's gonna look different than what it did before. And you know, I think every version of something is better than the last version, right? We look at what went well, what didn't go so well. And the club, y'all, the club, version 2 of the club is gonna be better than version 1. And I'm excited. I'm right now in the process of renovating it all, getting it all looking tidy and everything. And April 1st, y'all, April 1st, we'll see if I can keep the secret that long. I mean, that's still 3 weeks away. Oh my goodness. But it's gonna be good. You guys stay tuned. Stay tuned for the club update. It's gonna be a good time, and I think it's gonna be better, definitely better than the first version. All right, you guys know what to do. Sit back, put on your seatbelt, and enjoy this ride around doing community health, y'all. Okay, it's time for what's been coming up in client sessions. Okay, y'all, what's been coming up in client sessions? Okay, let's talk about the 4 things, the 4 behaviors that if your child shows one of these 4 behaviors, you have to call the police. You have to notify a legal authority. You have to get your child some help right away, okay, right away. These are the top 4 things, where you just are going to have to get help. All right, and the difficult conversation with parents is I really believe that if you can safely get your child to a hospital, then I think it's really important of these 4 things that if your child exhibits one of these behaviors, if you can safely get your child to an emergency room to get checked out, do that. If you can't do that, then you got to call the police, y'all. You got to call the police. And that's the hard part for parents, is I have this conversation because they're so fearful of the legal system. They're so fearful of the legal system, and they're fearful that that something bad's gonna happen if they call the police. And y'all, we just want your child to be safe and cared for. So let's go through these, okay? Number 1, if your child is a danger to himself or herself, if your child is definitely suicidal, if your child is self-injuring himself or herself. Oh, I got to get this call. I'll be right back with you. know this around you. Okay, y'all, let's talk about these again. If your child exhibits any of these, you've got to either call the police if you can't get your child safely to the hospital, or yeah, you got to call the police. Or if you safely can get your child to the hospital, then that's fine. You can do that. Number one, if your child is self-harming, okay, especially if they've got suicidal intent, that you got to call police immediately, or get your child to the hospital. Okay. Number two is if your child is harming someone else, physically violent, or is threatening in some way with an intent. Okay, number two. Number three, destruction of property. Okay, destroying property. Number four, running away. Okay, if any of those four, if your child exhibits any of those four, you've got to get your child to a hospital if you can do that safely, or call the police and they will help you. And here's the thing, y'all. I'm a really big believer in that how we handle these situations is how it's reinforced. So if your child learns that he can, throw, something at you, and you don't respond in such a way that is going to say, hey, this is dangerous, hey, we can't have this behavior, hey, we're gonna have to get you help, then that reinforces that your child is going to do it again and again and again, and these behaviors are going to get more explosive, they're going to get bigger. Okay, and so we've got to address these issues. And when I'm talking with parents, I know I'm right here, I see those eyes, those deer in their headlights. I know this is a difficult conversation for any of you parents that love your children. This is a difficult conversation, because the last thing you want to do is to hospital or call the police, because that hurts your heart. But you have to know that we have to address these behaviors, because if not, then they're going to keep happening. And we want to get your child help. Okay? And so my hope is that you can talk to your child and you can tell your child, hey, I love you. And I know right now that you are emotional, and if you aren't able to control your emotion and you do any of these four things, because sometimes it's a child just acting out because the child's so emotional, right, that they can't manage that emotion, and so they do one of those four things. And we want the child to be able to self-regulate, but we also want the child and you and everyone in your house to be safe. Because here's the thing, if we don't address it, the people right now in your house aren't safe, but guess what? Your child grows up learning that it's okay to be this way. And then we teach your child learns how to be violent in the home, domestic violence. And we don't want that. We don't want that for your child as an adult, or we don't want those people living with your child to be exposed to that. So we got to really address these four in childhood. All right. I know this is a conversation that's difficult for a lot of us, a lot of parents. I'm always telling parents, okay, let's take a deep breath and just relax, okay? Because when we start having this conversation, I just see parents getting all tense. It's an important conversation to have, and it's very important to act on these concerns. All right, y'all? All right. All right, y'all. That was really heavy on a Friday. Sometimes we have to talk about these difficult things, right? It's not always sunshine and rainbows, but so anyway, I think I'll call it today. I hope you have a big smile on your face, lots of love in your hearts, and see you again tomorrow. See you again tomorrow. On track, now we